What's going on?
So thank you for being our first victim here in our Suburban Shopper podcast studio.
Absolutely.
I'm here with Brian Wilkinson. He is the small business owner of Bay State Soft Wash. So I just wanted to start off by saying we kind of started this as an open forum in here to any small business or a member from the community that might want to come in and share something happening in town. And the purpose is what the Suburban Shopper has always been for over 60 years, is connecting local businesses to the community, to get to know your business and how important it is to hire local, because I think sometimes you're getting a higher quality of work when you're hiring local, and just that overall good feeling that you're helping a small business and helping put food on the table for
Giving back to the community.
Yeah, and you're giving back to the community. We have Ron over
hi.
here. We have Ron over here in the.
Welcome, Brian.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for coming in.
No problem. Glad that I could be the first of your new adventure. This is
That's
great.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So I'll let you kind of take the floor. Tell us a little bit about the service that you offer.
Yeah.
And
So
that.
awesome. So so we're not as local as we used to be because we're not in Brockton anymore, but we are in Lakeville, which is not that much farther away. So we have such a big customer base in Stoughton and Canton, Easton, and surrounding towns, still in Brockton, that we definitely still come up here. We're here at least once or twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So and then what we do is we soft wash and power wash, but we are we're called Bay State Soft Wash because we pride ourselves on not using high pressure water to clean your house. It's just a mixture of soaps and detergents that are actually recommended by siding manufacturers and paint companies and things like that if you have a wood house that's painted, or even natural shingles. And we also clean roofs. So we do a soft wash on the roof, which is more of an application. So if you have a roof that's, it has moss or lichen growing on it, or those black streaks that a lot of people think is like soot from the chimney, but it doesn't look that good. That's a black algae that's grown up there, and we wash all that stuff. It comes off. Some of the heavier stuff will take a little bit longer to come off, but it does all come off, which is again the recommended way to wash the roof. And then we do have power washers that are designed to power wash patios, sometimes decks, fences, and we do equipment washing. Heavy equipment, trucks, fleets, things like that.
So my first question to you, because
Yeah.
I just think of power washing. I don't think of soft washing. What's the difference between soft wash and power wash?
Right. So the soft wash is it's pretty much like the same pressure as your garden hose, or even less really. And then all of our trucks have a dedicated soft wash system on it.
Okay.
And again, we're using the proper soaps and detergents to clean. And what happens is, in turn, is not using high pressure water. All the surfaces of your house will stay cleaner longer. I know Ron's had us over before, and he knows. He can probably attest to that.
I can attest to how good of a job it came out. You did my white vinyl fence,
Right.
and it was unbelievable.
Right,
I mean, just
right.
sparkles afterwards.
Yeah,
It
so
makes
it's
such a huge difference in the overall
Right,
yard.
right. I remember doing a job in Easton actually for this nice woman. She still calls us, but it was before I even started the company. It was for Ron actually.
Oh, Ron Lum.
Yeah, Ron Lum. He got me the job over there, and it was just a white vinyl fence. It was a good size, probably 100 feet long, and I was there for like 2 days with a power washer. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And now, we could show up and it would probably take us a half an hour.
Oh, wow.
And it would come out like 1,000 times better,
Yeah.
But, as a kid, I didn't really know. I mean,
Yeah.
I did the best I could with what I had, but
Well,
I mean,
speaking of that, how did you even get involved in this business?
Yeah.
How long ago? When did you establish Bay State?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
So it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise. It was like right around the time my mom passed away. And I got a hold of my brother who lives in Florida, which he does soft washing in Florida. Lucky for him, he can do it year round. So,
Yeah.
But
And yours is more like spring season, or is it year round?
It's I mean, This year we did it year round because it was such a mild winter, you know.
Yeah.
And we can wash, not to get off on a different subject, but we can wash in the winter as long as it's above freezing, you
Okay.
know. But a lot of people just aren't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Besides, you know, people selling their houses, that's a good thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyways, you know, my brother was just like, you know, Brian, like, what are you doing? I was working for the tea at the time. And as most people know, the tea is kind of a struggle right now. So
Yeah.
it wasn't any different back then. So he was just on the computer Googling and see if there's any soft wash companies in the area. And he's like, Brian, I got to tell you, I've been trying to get my friends to do it. That a couple of my buddies are landscapers or painters, and they're just not seeing the benefit, you know. So let me give you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I started out, you know, where everybody mostly starts out with a small little operation, and then I just the first couple houses I did. Again, I was probably just thinking about how hard that fence was to do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is.
And you were just doing regular power washing at the time?
Yeah, so just before I started the whole soft wash
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
and then, you know, just seeing the difference in my own eyes from being kind of mechanical anyways, you know, with the background, I'm like, this is really, you know, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great, you know.
Yeah, that it would catch on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, then we just kept on investing in the company and just keep growing, and it's just I still, you know, we've been doing it since 2015.
Okay.
And we'll show up to houses that are like just really covered in algae bad. And it still blows me away, you know, that how easy it is and how clean the house comes, you know.
Yeah. I have a stupid question.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
Oh,
But do you bring your own water, or do you have to have a homeowner connect to their water source?
right. That's a good question.
It's a good question. I don't know. It sounds
We
a
do
little-
we do get that question a lot.
Okay.
Water's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I think it's like eight pounds a gallon. So there's been some cases where we've had to bring our own water.
Oh, all right.
Or sometimes make trips, but generally we hook up to the homeowner's house or the business, whatever we're washing. But we use about a quarter of the water that a typical power wash company would use.
Oh, that's
so
good.
it's like so much less, and you know I think that water is still like one of the last cheap things that we have available to us. So, most homeowners don't even notice a difference.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'm getting my water bill soon.
Right.
Like, how much is that going to eat up? So not.
Right.
So you just use what half? You said a quarter of it.
Yeah, like a quarter of a typical, because you know,
Oh, that's good.
somebody who's power washing is just relying on that high pressure.
Yeah.
Where we just, you know, we put the application on the house first, and it just literally dissolves everything that's on the house, and then of course we have to rinse it off.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, much less water, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of costs and stuff, how
Right.
much does this cost somebody? I don't know. I know there's a huge range. Like it
Yep.
could be a huge property that you're doing. You do residential and commercial, right?
Right.
So
Right.
say, you know, I live in a colonial, 2-story. How much is that going to cost me?
Yeah. So that's another great question. So it ranges. I mean, we usually don't go by the square footage. We'll kind of take a look at the landscape, because sometimes, you know, I mean, if it's just a flat yard and stuff like that, not many bushes by the house, there's a lot of things that come into play. But generally, you know, like a 2,500 square foot house is anywhere from, you know, 350 to 500, something like that.
Okay.
But again, we're washing everything from the gutters. Like the gutters get washed. We can wash the soffits because it's low pressure. All the trim, of course, the siding gets washed. The windows do get a wash. It's not an actual window wash, which we can provide that. But they do get washed, and you know, all inside the screen tracks. The screens don't have to be removed, which is another bonus. Like a lot of power wash
good.
companies will ask you to remove the screens because they
Because
don't
they'll
want to.
shoot right through the screen, right?
Exactly.
And I'm sure if I was doing it on my own,
Right.
then I'd have to, like, it would take so much time. I'd
I've
have
seen
to, like,
some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen some horror
Lauren,
stories.
you could do it, I think.
Oh.
You're up for the challenge.
God,
You got the
okay.
sweatshirt now, so you.
I know, I do have this.
You're official. So yeah, so the entryways get washed. I mean, even like, you know, sometimes if you look and you're coming home and you have like the lights outside, they get like coated with cobwebs and stuff. All that will get washed.
And how often should you do it? Like as a homeowner, I didn't even think about doing that, but I'm noticing like the
Right.
siding getting disgusting, and I'm like, I should probably do that soon.
Right.
Like how often should a homeowner do it? Like every couple of years, couple times a year? Like,
Right. I wish it was a couple times a year, but it's not. Again, it was kind of like a learning curve when I first started. My brother didn't really tell me this, but he said, he said the best thing will be repeat customers, because we love to
Yeah.
see, familiar faces and stuff like that. But, I was thinking that was going to be pretty much a yearly thing for my customers, but a lot of my customers, they weren't calling me back, and I'm like, what's going on, So I called a few people, and I'm like, we haven't heard from you. Is everything okay? Like, do you need us again? And they're like, Brian, my house it's still clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how good that the soft wash
That's
works.
great.
It just
Too
lasts
good.
long. Yeah, too good. But
Yeah.
when they do call us again, it's great to hear from them and all that. But
yeah.
so there's like a little bit of a science thing behind that. So most of the stuff that's on the house that's making the house look dirty is like an organic material, whether it's mold, algae,
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? So when you just rely on high pressure water to power wash the house, you get most of it off, I guess. You know what I mean? I've never really done that, but it's been like a thing, right? Power washing. But if you leave a little bit of like the natural stuff that's on the house, which most times is what happens, it gets kind of stressed out because its family's gone, right?
Right.
But the little pieces that are left will just start to multiply again. So that's why a lot of people have said that when they've power washed only, they're doing it every year because it just keeps coming back. Whereas the soft wash, it just eliminates everything, and it takes it longer for it to reestablish. So,
I see.
I mean, it will come back, but it definitely takes longer,
Yeah.
I've done power washing at my house, and I've literally like chipped the corner molding on my shed,
Yeah.
and you know what it's like to try and get someone to fix that. It's soft wash is such a better alternative. Just
Yep.
sounds like such a better alternative than
Right.
actually full force pressure washing against your shingles, against everything.
Right.
So much opportunity for damage.
Yeah. I've had a lot of calls from like wives and stuff, and saying like my husband was out there all for a couple days, and can you come take a look, come take a look at my property? And I'm like, they sell. When you buy a pressure washer, even when you rent it, they have like
Well, they're expensive.
couple-
First
they're
of all,
expensive,
aren't
yeah,
they?
right,
Like a good
exactly.
one is what, like $500 probably.
Yeah, exactly. And they give you that little tip that's like just a pencil, and
Yeah.
it's like a straight line,
Yeah.
and it's like you could write your name with it. And I've seen that, like, I'm like, oh my God. But for the most part, I mean, we can pretty much remedy, unless of course you're like Ron and you start taking pieces of your house off. You know what I mean? But,
I could do it myself.
yeah.
I know. I can
So-
only imagine what people have done to like destroy their
Right.
property with stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. How soon, like how long does it take? First of all, like I know, again, different for every size home or property, but how long does it take to do like
Right.
my size house like I talked about?
Yeah, so a normal house is, I mean, again, like a colonial,
Yeah.
literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
So something that would take a homeowner like a day
Right.
to do.
Or a whole weekend.
A
Right.
whole weekend.
Yeah.
Like you sounds like you're equipped with everything. You guys have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Professionals. Do you offer any other services, or is that?
So the only thing like extra that we offer is gutter cleaning. So we do that
Okay.
in the fall, obviously, or I mean, sometimes people will ask us to do it if they forgot to do it in the fall. That's no problem.
Yeah.
But really, it's mostly washing. We do interior and exterior windows,
Okay.
which is nice, and we have a really cool system to do the outside windows. It's a water fed pole that's carbon fiber. It's got a boar's head brush on it, and what it does is it triple filters the town water or well water, and it filters it out so it's like crystal clear. There's no minerals in it. There's no chemicals in it, and so when we're using it for the outside windows, they just dry like crystal clear. So we don't have to get up on ladders and squeegee and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of ladders, I'm guilty of it, but I've gone up on my roof before,
Yep.
and I just saw it on this old house. Like 28% of all construction deaths is people falling off roofs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, just don't go up on your roof.
Right.
It's
Right.
worth the money to pay someone to professionally
Right.
to get it done. It
Right.
really is.
Yeah.
And that's a good point because when we're doing a roof wash, 95% of the time we don't get on the customer's roof.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll put the ladder up to the gutter line, and all of our equipment is top of the line stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I want my guys to be completely safe, obviously, but I mean that's a good thing is that we're not walking on people's roofs.
Yeah.
So
How
we
many
can-
guys do you have in your crew?
We have 5.
Yeah.
And my manager at the shop. Yeah. So
Oh, great.
yeah, and we work on all of our equipment. We don't send it out, so it's in perfect working order when they leave the shop. You
Yeah.
know, and all of our trucks have extra equipment on them. We go by that old rule: if you have one, you have none. If you have 2, you have 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we have extra pumps. We have extra this, that, the other thing. So
Yeah.
so the guys can just keep going. Which is nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what kind of sets you, I know of a few other advertisers that have been advertising with us that do power washing and soft washing. What sets you apart from your other local competition?
Well, I like to, I really like my guys to be on time. I'm sure, I don't know if this is the way everybody else operates. I hope that they do.
Yeah.
But, we're very good with communication because, homeowners want to know when you're going to be there because a lot of times people want to be home, which is fine.
Yeah.
We ask them to be in the house, but, so communication's huge with the customers, they really appreciate that.
They really, really appreciate it.
Right.
I mean, the more you let the customer know what's going on
Yep.
and not blowing them off.
Right.
I called them yesterday and I haven't heard back from them. I mean, that's just so important. That's basic
Yeah.
business 101.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. So that's very important to us that, it's very important that our guys are presentable.
Mm-hmm.
They always have company shirts on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing. And they're also knowledgeable about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it isn't like we just hired these people and they're, they don't know what they're doing. So they go through a full set of training.
Yeah.
And they can answer most questions, and if they can't, they can call me, or I can talk to the homeowner or whatever. And then, the other thing that sets us apart is that this is all we do. We don't do carpentry. We don't do landscaping.
That's
we don't
kind
paint.
of what I was getting at before
Yeah.
when I was
Specialist.
like, what else do you offer? Like,
Right.
is that, so
Right.
that's good. You specialize in this one thing. This is what you're really good at.
Right.
Let's do
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Can you do stonework? Does it hurt stone at all, like facade and
Yeah.
natural stone, things like that?
Right. No,
Is it
we
okay
can.
for that?
Yeah, we can do all that. We've washed all types of surfaces. I'm trying to think of what something that like kind of like rare, I can't think of it right now, but
Like, what is the craziest thing somebody's asked you to do?
yeah.
Can you think of anything?
Um,
Well, in this business.
I know.
Can you soft wash a vehicle?
Well, you can actually. So the soft wash works on campers and stuff like that. So, because the
Done
campers,
that before then for campers and RVs, things
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So,
Outdoor furniture, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that just
definitely.
gets caked with crud all
Mhm.
the time.
Yeah.
yeah. So everything that's outside, even like awnings and stuff, like the people have the retractable awnings or
Oh, yeah.
even normal awnings. We just did a funeral home that had pretty much the permanent awnings that were covered in all the green, and that they cleaned it right up. So outdoor furniture,
Yeah.
definitely, huge.
That is a pain in the butt to try and get outdoor furniture clean. That
Yeah.
green stuff, especially the plastic, the cheap stuff that some people buy.
Right.
It's a pain to get clean. Like
Right.
you have
Yeah.
it for one season and it just never gets clean again. It's
Right.
stained forever.
Right. And so we can also do just touching on the outdoor furniture is pool surrounds, concrete pool surrounds. Sometimes we'll run into some people will have furniture made out of rare wood like teak and stuff like that. We can wash that, no
Doesn't hurt-
problem.
Doesn't hurt that at all.
No,
Yeah.
no. So
So,
yeah,
Brian, I have another question for you.
Sure.
How long have you been advertising in the shopper?
so we
I should probably know this, Ron. Did we look that up?
On and off for a couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah.
3
Yep.
years, I'd say.
yeah.
You
So
you pick your season.
Yeah.
Right. So it was so we were talking about the the time that I kind of took off from doing that, and I wasn't advertising with anybody, so it wasn't anything against you guys. It was
Yeah.
just I was so overwhelmed with
Yeah.
work.
It happens to a lot. It happens to a lot of our customers. They advertise for a little while. They get 10 jobs. They're like, I'm backed up.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
Right.
Happens
ex-
a lot.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, we would get people that would, the placemat people. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like when you're at you're drinking coffee from a coffee shop, like I'll look at it because it's
Yeah.
something.
We look at it all the time. 'Cause
Right.
We're like,
But I feel like the majority of people are eating their food. Like they're not really.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, what you guys have is great because it's coming to their house. They can look at it when they want. It's not when they're just eating their food. So.
Yeah.
And then I would get the golf cards a lot, which I don't know. I don't play golf, so I don't know how much people look at those. But I feel like again, you're golfing, so you're more.
You're in golfing mode.
You're in
not
golfing
Yeah.
mode. If you're drinking a beer or something, I don't know,
Yeah.
who's looking at that stuff. But and then when COVID came around, right? It was like.
It was probably a busier time for you.
It was busier,
Right?
yeah.
Like people are there focusing on their homes and what needs to be done.
Right. So it was busy, and then last year when it was finally coming to an end, thank God, our business kind of went down a little bit.
Did
And I'm
it?
like, what's going on? So I was just trying to think about, I was just trying to figure out why that was happening. But then I have another good friend who does what I do up in New Hampshire, and he's saying the same thing. And then I belong to a couple of blogging groups, that where everybody was saying the same thing. And then one person just said well, people are probably not home as much because they can go out again and they can, but this year I think we're back to more normalcy. And
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
hearing it from all of our service people that there's the number of jobs
Right.
has just decreased from the last year or two.
Right.
People are getting out,
Mhm.
they're doing what they want to do. They're traveling.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not stuck at home, so
Right.
they're not concentrating on their house as much.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are working a little harder to get those jobs this year.
Right.
Definitely. Almost back to normal.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy busy for a lot of people the last couple of years.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
What services, what areas do you service in the area? I know we talked a little bit about that before, but is it all of southeastern Mass and South Shore area, or how far out do you go?
Yeah, so we go up about as far north as Quincy or so, that
Okay.
area. We go over to the coast, so Hingham all the way down to Plymouth.
Okay.
We do the Cape.
All right.
We don't go too far into the Cape, but we do over the bridge slightly, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
We work a lot in Rhode Island with a big painting company down there that contracts us to paint. To wash every building before they paint it, because they were power washing, and then they actually ended up just calling us one day. We went down and impressed them, so that's what we
very
do.
nice.
Yeah, so but yeah, so and this is like the heart, this area right here, Stoughton, Canton, Easton. I mean,
All right.
yeah, we've spent a lot of time in these areas, so it's
Can
What
I-
else are you, what, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Can I ask you, so you transitioned from working at the T,
Mhm.
started your own thing,
right,
and made it work.
Yeah.
And now it's your full-time job.
right,
I mean, it's the dream of a lot of people,
yeah,
I think.
right.
How long did that take? And, can you just talk about that process a little bit? It's
Right.
nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
right? Because
Oh.
you got to take the leap of faith to
Right.
make something else work,
Right,
right?
right. Oh, definitely. Huge leap of faith. Yeah. So, I mean, working for the T, I stayed part-time. So they get, when you first start, they hire you part-time, and then
Yeah.
they give you the option after a little while to go full-time. Part-time working for the T usually means a split shift. So, I was waking up at 3:30 in the morning, getting my truck ready, my wash truck. I would take that to work with me to the T, work at the T, and then, during my break, which is like a 6-hour break, I'd go and wash houses, and then go back to the T again for
Wow.
the second half of my split
So
shift.
a lot of
yeah.
no sleep during this
Right.
time, getting it started.
Right, right. And, I owe a lot to my wife, Melissa, too. She was like, you're going crazy doing this. And you're so, I'd come home and be like, babe, I'm so busy, but I'm getting tired. Like,
Right.
this is a lot,
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Two jobs.
Yeah.
And
So,
what, 4 kids?
yeah, 4 kids.
That's
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. So,
And you have 2 5-year-old twin girls.
Yeah.
Now that you're
Right.
happily dealing with.
Yep. Yep. And they love the soft wash too. I mean, one of, they're identical twins, but one of them is just more hands on,
Yeah.
and the other one's more like into dolls and stuff like that, which is fine, right? And so
I have ones like that too.
yep. So my daughter, who's more hands on, she wants to come to my shop all the time and help me fix things. And
That's great.
she calls I don't know where it came from, but she calls my shop my space station. And
Put these kids to work. It's
I
the
know.
best thing
Yeah,
for them,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And my 14-year-old son, I mean, he's been doing it with me for a long time, probably since he was about 8,
Oh, that's great.
And he's like, Dad, I want to go to work, and I work harder than all you guys anyways.
It's a real family business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Does
Yep.
it have its challenges sometimes? I'm sure, like, I've talked to business owners, and, like, sometimes I wish it would just be easier just to punch in and be done with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure
Right.
is something about just punching a clock.
Right.
Absolutely. There's
Oh, definitely,
big
yeah.
advantages of just having to punch a clock. There is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's not
But
for
are you
everybody.
happy you took that leap into your own business?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do get to do a lot as a family, which is good,
Yeah.
Whereas like working for other people can be a challenge, but also, it's kind of a 24-hour thing with me, you know what I mean? But thankfully, again, to give credit to my wife, she understands it. I mean, at first it was a little, it was like, well, how come people are texting you at 2:30 in the morning? And
Small
it's like,
business
well,
does not stop,
no.
which I've learned.
No.
Like, it really doesn't.
No.
You have to be
Especially
available at all times.
In the internet age, people just want their information. They wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to know now.
Right.
You know, just
Or when we're
they're
working on a
inspired by
Sunday.
something and
When
Yeah.
we're working on a Sunday morning,
right.
getting papers together. Yeah. We get it.
yeah, yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. So it's a 24-hour thing. But I mean, the best thing about what I do that I just love is that, not to throw like a different service under the bus, like somebody who owns a mechanic shop. But usually when people go into a mechanic shop, their car's broken and they're upset.
Yep.
It's like when people call us, they're calling us because they want to see a good result, and they're just so blown away by how their house looks. I mean, the reactions that I've gotten from that is like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, sometimes it's like, well, a lot of times what I'll do if I'm at the job is like if the homeowner's home, I'll say, come on out with me, let's take a walk
Yeah.
around. And we'll walk out. I'll say, don't turn around yet. We'll walk out
Yeah.
like 10, 15 feet. And I say, all right, turn around.
Yeah.
And just stand there and watch their face, and they're like,
Like a reveal.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That should be a whole social media campaign for you alone.
I know, right. I know, that would be great.
Have
Yeah.
you done any
Soft
other
wash
advertising
reveal.
besides? Yeah. Have you ever
Yeah.
done any other advertising besides the shopper? Like you said.
Not
placements
not
and
really.
No.
We've tried a couple like little things, but we have our own Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So,
Yep.
So we do that, which is decent,
Yep.
And then
Important to be on there
Right.
nowadays.
right. And we typically send out if the customer's happy, which most of the time they are.
Yeah.
We'll send out a like a text that has like the Google review link on it,
Mm-hmm.
so they can just click on that and boom, they're right there.
Great.
So they don't have to go looking for like our stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
All right,
and-
well, if somebody's listening today,
yeah.
at the end here, I wanted to see if there's anything you would offer a first-time customer or a returning customer, any kind of offer from Bay State.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, so as of right now, we give our Lakeville neighbors, so anybody who lives in Lakeville and surrounding towns from there, a 10% discount because we're not traveling that far.
Yeah.
And it's just a good thing to do, I think,
Yeah.
But I mean, I could definitely extend that to anybody who's listening for sure.
10%.
Yeah.
So what do they
10%,
have to
that's
say
pretty
if they're
good.
watching?
Right.
This is suburban shopper, 10% discount.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
What, as a small business owner, what do you think is the number one marketing tool you have? Is it your website? I mean,
That's
do you
actually-
like if someone's starting a business, what's the absolutely number one thing they need to do? Like some people just start a Facebook page.
Right.
How important is it to have a good website also, not just a Facebook page?
Right. So we do pay for. Let me see. So it's like our database, I guess you could say, and the people that do that also built our website. We did have a website when we first started, but they built it, and it's just like it's great. You know, it's good for it does good for like a PC, mobile, and a tablet. It changes automatically, so that's huge.
Yeah.
You know.
Would that be the number one tool you think to have as a small business is to establish a good website first?
Yeah, I would say that, and also a good estimate. You know, to provide a just something. You know, instead of just writing something up, I feel like people now would like, especially because a lot of it's all emailed. You know.
Yeah.
So just a nice, clear estimate with expectations of what you're going to do for the person, whether depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Beca-
Something professional that
Yeah.
people are going to
So
want.
quality service is number one.
Right. Yeah.
That's your best marketing tool. Obviously, word of mouth is the easiest and best marketing tool for any business.
Right.
If someone that you know gives you a reference to something or somebody, you're going to use them.
Yeah.
Because you already know.
Right.
So word of mouth is number one. And
Right.
then
Do you
website, I would say, is number two. Social media.
Yeah.
And print advertising, obviously.
Yeah.
I have another question. This is like kind of weird. Do you quote on the spot, or do you go write the estimate and then send it to them within how many days?
Right. Typically, we don't quote in the spot. I mean, there has been times where where like say that the homeowner doesn't have an email. You know, that's still a thing. Like people don't have their email, or that's totally fine. I mean, we're very transparent with what we charge.
Yeah.
When we never say estimate, we do say quote, because what it is what it is. We don't ever really go up or down. You know what I mean? So,
Unless you mention the Suburban Chopper discount, then you'll
right,
take it down.
exactly, yeah, right. But I think that, I mean, we've had the best luck that with what we've done for marketing is definitely through you guys. Yeah, I would say.
Awesome to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
And we didn't pay you to say that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I mean, I just think, again, because it touches on, this is like it's coming to somebody's house. It's not like in front of them when they're eating dinner or playing golf or,
But I thought you also brought up like a good point too. Some of the homeowners you go to may not have an email address. So there's an audience for everything. Like people who are getting print, like there's an audience for that.
Right.
And, they probably aren't online if they don't have an email address. So, the people that you're advertising to on Facebook and Instagram and Google, like they're not looking on there. They're looking in our papers. So, there's a specific audience for print. There's also an audience for digital. There's an audience for billboards or radio. It's just like whoever you want to target. But I think, with our papers, it's been like a Bible really in this community since like the 60s. So, no, we're so glad to hear that.
Yeah. No,
I
definitely.
call it grassroots, boots on the ground marketing. It still works.
Right.
It still works.
Right.
Even with all the digital avenues, print still works.
Yeah.
But you have to grow with marketing is why we're here today in our new podcast
Right.
studio. So,
Right.
Ryan, I want to thank you for this
Yes.
awesome T-shirt.
I know. I'm excited for this pink too. I don't have a lot of pink in my life.
There you go.
It
Yeah.
puts me in a better mood.
Ryan Wilkinson from Bay State Soft Wash.
And
Yep.
where can they reach you? They can visit your website
Yep. At it's baystatesoftwash.com. Yep. And that's actually the best way to reach us. A phone call is fine too.
and
What's your
text
phone number
or just
again?
phone call.
774-259-3778.
There you go.
But really, if you do have a computer or a phone or a tablet, it's definitely our website, because it's a quick little form. It says get a quote, and you can fill out all your information right there. We don't share anybody's information with other people, so that's good. You're safe with that. But when that comes through, you're in our system and you're good to go.
Before we go, do you want to mention your hobby business that you
Oh
started?
yeah. What do you do for fun,
He's
Brian?
put me on the
Share
spot.
with
What do you
us.
do for fun?
We
Just put
found
all
that
the work.
interesting earlier.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I have a lot of hobbies. I like, I like Mustangs and stuff like that, but
Cars.
cars and all that. And, but yeah, so model trains has been one of my hobbies for like the longest time.
I would
and-
never think like a guy like you would be into model trains.
Yeah.
Like I see tattoos.
Do you know
Right.
where it came from?
I think like when I was, when I was a kid, really, really young, like,
Getting it under the
3 or
Christmas
5
tree
under
and
the
opening it
Christmas
up,
tree,
and I remember those days.
and I'll be on
Yeah.
social media today, and like around Christmas time, everybody's putting up their Christmas tree pictures on the, like, I'll comment, where's your Christmas train? But no, I mean it's a cool hobby, and it can get pretty expensive. Don't
Yep.
tell my wife.
What's
No,
you
she's-
said you had a YouTube channel?
Yep, we have a YouTube channel. It's Real Toy Trains,
Cool.
and we do like product reviews, and
I bet the kids must love it too.
they do.
Just
Yeah.
go to YouTube, go to Real Toy Trains,
Yep.
search that, and you'll
Yep.
come up.
We'll
You'll
post
see it.
about it too, in
Yeah.
case.
I started getting into like the shorts and stuff like that. It was because YouTube's been saying that that's like the new thing, but I don't know. My son makes fun of me. I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care because I finally got to that point where it's monetized, and like I said, I was
Right.
making a tiny bit of money, but it was a good goal,
Right.
yeah.
Anytime you can monetize a hobby,
Right.
you're doing something right.
Right.
It takes a while, but if it's your love and it's what you enjoy,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what you should be doing.
So we'll see where that goes. Maybe we can retire from that down the road. You never know.
Never know.
So, yeah. But for
Aw.
now, this is what we're doing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, good for you. And
Bay State Soft Wash. Give them a call. Phone
Yes.
number one more time.
774-259-3778. Thanks,
Brian.
guys.
thanks, Brian.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks.